you're watching the AI Report. This is gonna be one of my favorite episodes ever. Lots of interesting stuff today, a pretty crazy episode too. Let's get into it. Let's open with a series of very intriguing articles about where exactly are we in the AI evolution. Elad Gil is an AI expert that has worked on early machine learning projects at Google and Twitter, and then spent the next decade working on various machine learning projects. For reference, machine learning was essentially what we called AI up until 5 years ago. So this guy has seen it all. In his opinion, AI is just getting started. First and foremost, diffusion models and transformers are a true quantum leap in the field. It's no wonder the entire AI field was somewhat quiet for a decade or more, and then suddenly it all exploded when ChatGPT came around. ChatGPT is the first successful transformer-based model, and that's the reason why its capabilities and output are of such great quality. Gil thinks that the most exciting AI startups haven't even been started yet, and we're still years away from large-scale enterprise adoption of AI. In fact, most companies are still struggling to understand what even AI means for their business. I'm not sure how much I've thought about the ideas presented here, and obviously I'm not as experienced as Elad, but I think I agree with pretty much everything. Exciting times are coming, definitely. And another article by Time magazine confirms that, and even has the nerdy charts to back it up. Number 1, AI has either surpassed or come dangerously close to surpassing humans in a ton of important tasks, including speech and image recognition, reading comprehension, language understanding, grade school math, code generation, and even common sense completion. I thought we had that one covered. I thought we had the monopoly on common sense, but turns out we don't. Number 2, the chart here is representing the amount of compute used to train AI, and it's going vertical. It's almost doubling every 6 months in the last 10 years. Number 3, the chart represents the number of data points used to train AI, and it's also exploding. And number 4, the efficiency of training AI models is increasing, and even though they have more data available, they can be trained with very little data, which means they get ridiculously better when trained on a lot of data. Well, that sounds great, but before you start salivating, thinking about all the possibilities, let's see a reasonable counterpoint here. That's how we roll on this channel, taking all the perspectives into account. New York University professor of psychology and neuroscience, and guy definitely pulling the know-it-all look, Gary Marcus, thinks that the AI boom might come to a swift end because of the many serious unresolved problems, most notably hallucinations. In his opinion, ChatGPT may not have the impact that people think it will, and a lot of the AI companies are overvalued without bringing the expected revenue yet. So far, the only real use cases are writing for marketing and writing code. Look, these are fair points. Hallucinations are probably the single biggest problem that's standing between AI generating trillions of dollars in revenue. But we don't know if hallucinations will be solved. If they can't be solved for some reason, then the whole AI field may be overhyped to some degree. But if they can get solved, then AGI is probably closer than we think. That's the whole debate about AI right now, I guess, encapsulated in those few sentences. Nobody knows what will happen. Pessimists are not daring to dream big, and optimists may be a bit naive. One thing we do know for a fact, AI does have solid use cases today. Marketers and programmers actually use it. Those two fields are pretty big on their own. And I find it highly unlikely that today's AIs will be the best AIs ever. Progress probably won't stop here. So while it's smart to not just blindly believe that we'll have juicy, beautiful AIs doing everything for us soon, I think the case for being a cautious optimist is very strong. And I think eventually we will have AGIs and the hype will turn out to be justified. Speaking of AGI, Quora founder tweeted that creating it might be the single most important event in human history, and both Elon and Sam Altman agree. I'm actually gonna go against these super smart genius billionaires here. AGI will be important, but I'm not sure if it will be the most important thing ever. It may be, who knows. But if, for example, we start nuking each other, then the discovery of nuclear weapons will turn out to have been the most important event ever. Also, AGI may not be that big of a deal. Probably ASI will be more important. And while we're at AI progress, here's an old video from Jeff Bezos on AI from 1998. It's a short clip. Let's check it out.
Amazon.com is very much a technology company. In fact, I think of us in many ways as sort of a small AI company. Artificial intelligence is something that's gotten a bad rap. And there are some good reasons for that and some bad reasons. One of the bad reasons is that once the AI guys work really hard and accomplish something, it's not AI anymore. It's just a parlor trick. What's interesting is there's some very simple but sophisticated techniques that are working well to help people discover things online, like collaborative filtering. I'll talk a little more about that in a minute. But this is all subterranean. So we're starting to do things on our site now that aren't very visible, like customize the homepage for particular customers using their past activity and their stated preferences to guide us.
Yeah, that's a pretty nostalgic video right there. I'm sure Jeff misses these times before he became Lex Luthor. But yeah, good points. Tech people make things work so well that users stop appreciating them too fast. And actually, they demand a lot more of them. If you're ever tempted to say words like, that's not even real AI, or so what, I suggest trying to build an AI of your own. It will be an adventure in personal growth, I believe. Okay, let's talk jobs. A study by the UN finds that AI will probably not destroy most jobs, and it will automate big parts of them, freeing workers to check their phones and play games on company time more. However, the study finds that clerical workers in wealthier countries might get hit by AI, which will disproportionately affect the women, since there are more of them in these positions. Well, the only advice I can give to clerical workers is maybe consider reskilling, especially with AI skills. Make yourself harder to replace. Related to this, a survey by Gallup on 135 Fortune 500 CHROs finds that 72% of them think AI will replace jobs in their organizations in the next 3 years. The survey also finds that 53% of workers are not ready for AI, few of them use or play around with ChatGPT, and most of them are skeptical about AI in general. 7 out of 10 employees have said they never use AI for anything. I think that's the old way of thinking. Believing that you can just find one nice job, master it in 6 months, and keep doing it until the rest of your life. That may be true for some jobs, but I think most people will have no choice but to become more flexible and dynamic and continue learning their entire lives. We live in the best time ever, but that's the price we have to pay for it. Speaking of the best times ever, it seems like Nvidia is having them right now. Great article on the New York Times about Nvidia's rise to power. One of the biggest successes of Nvidia has been positioning itself as the first brand that comes to mind for AI researchers, creators, thinkers, and builders. Not only does Nvidia build cutting-edge technologies super fast, but they also nurture and support a large community of AI programmers who spread their gospel and message and also help them deepen their pockets. But probably even more important than that, Nvidia was one of the first companies to bet big on AI. They did it more than 10 years ago, back when pretty much nobody was thinking about it. Today, more than 70% of AI chips in use are from Nvidia, and companies have a clear preference for them over other chips. To prove the point, even their weaker chips are preferred over stronger chips from competitors. Get this, Nvidia can't really sell their best chips to China, there are brands on that, but even their capped chips are highly coveted in China. Speaking of China, 6-armed robot was unveiled at the World Robot Convention in Beijing. Let's check it out here. Reminds me of Goro in Mortal Kombat. Actually, he had 4 hands, right? Maybe this reminds me of my grandma in the kitchen, cooking 8 different meals for 14 people at the same time. And while we're at robots, the Unitree H1 might be available for $90K in 1 to 3 years. Let's check it out here. It looks like an old person running to the bathroom, as one Reddit user points out. Well, no, why are you kicking it? Don't you know this is how robot uprisings start? Why is this so important? Why is it so important for these robots to be able to withstand pain and damage? Speaking of pain and damage, according to Nikesh Arora, CEO of cybersecurity company Palo Alto Networks, Companies these days may have mere hours to defend against cyber attacks. Hackers and cyber criminals are putting AI to good use and devising creative attacks quicker than ever before. And according to Aurora, the only solution companies have is to adopt AI defensive strategies. Well, yeah, cybersecurity guys always have an incentive to talk about the dangers of cybercrime, but he probably has a point here. Cybersecurity without AI may even become a thing of the past. It might be impossible to fend off every possible AI-discovered vulnerability without AI itself. In other potential dystopian news, MindVis is an AI system developed by researchers in Singapore that can read minds. Participants receive MRI scans while looking at images to train the AI to understand brain activity and how it represents different images. Okay, this can actually be very useful in medicine and maybe even in creating better user experiences and interfaces, but something about the device being able to read my mind is very disturbing to me. Don't get the wrong idea, I'm not embarrassed about my thoughts or something. I just fear that the AI might go crazy and either decide to self-terminate or exterminate all of humanity. Next, custom instructions for ChatGPT are now also available in the European Union and the UK. Did Western Europeans get a little taste of how it feels to be a second-class citizen, not getting the coolest toys first? It's not like I wish that upon them or anything. It's just that people from third world countries have always had that problem. I guess it's nice to share your misery with someone every now and then. Anyway, European Union, United Kingdom, have fun with ChatGPT custom instructions. Check out my video to learn how to use them the best. Speaking of learning, 8,000 teachers and students will test Conmigo, Khan Academy's AI tutor, this school year. Conmigo offers individualized guidance on math, science, humanities, a debate tool for hot topics like student debt cancellation and AI's impact on jobs, and a writing helper that helps students cheat on their writing tasks. Early reports state that Conmigo is pretty useful, although it still needs some work. By the way, Khan Academy is a great place to learn stuff. They are actually technically my competitor, I guess, because they will also teach people about AI, but I do recommend them as a great resource nonetheless. Yeah, I'm just a great guy, what can I say? Next, YouTube sees AI as a potential tool for combating copyright and trademark abuse, misinformation, and spam, most of which will probably be generated by AI itself. They are planning to invest more in AI and their Content ID system for recognizing copyrighted material. Also, they're partnering up with Universal Music Group to create an AI music incubator, which will include several artists that will help them gather insights on generative AI experiments on YouTube. YouTube and Universal Music are also negotiating licensing artist voices and melodies to train AI models that will generate music. Okay, I'm not too happy about this. It seems like for now, people in the incubator will be allowed to use AI to generate music, but for everyone else, it will kind of be frowned upon. I don't know, I'm not saying I would never listen to AI-generated music, but it does sound like something unholy. There is some invisible taboo that prevents me from being fully on board with this. I haven't thought about it enough to clearly know why that is so. I just know what my gut is telling me. Maybe I just fear being overflooded by AI-generated music and content, not being able to tell what's what anymore, and I'm not sure if that would be a good or a bad thing. And finally, speaking of being overflooded by AI content, in just 1 year, people generated 150 billion images, or as many as 150 years of organically created photos. Actually, the stats might be a bit wrong here because I found another research that suggests that there have been 12 trillion photos taken, but still 150 billion AI-generated images in a year, yeah, that's a dang. Well, I guess we're still here. Despite the enormous amount of AI-generated garbage on the internet, we're still gonna continue to have individual tastes and peculiar preferences, and I suspect that we will still find creators we resonate with and appreciate their content. And that's the way it is. That was the AI Report. If you resonate with this creator right here, like and subscribe. We're gonna keep having a great time here, and I will see you tomorrow.